Can anybody hear me now? Has the echoing gone? Woohoo! Thank the Lord for YouTube and videos. I just had to quickly go on YouTube, search why is my Twitch echoing? Oh. Anyway, it sounds like I had the audio on my computer, on my monitor on, so that was interfering. So I've muted that from what it says on the YouTube channel, and it looks like it's working. Thank goodness. I am really sorry. That's just the noob in me coming out, so I do apologise. So let's start again from the beginning, and again, big apologies for sound issues. I'm glad you can all hear me now. Today we're going to be doing Bones miniatures, and I have 25 of my miniatures all dotted around my workshop. And I've got a list of 25 of what I think are fantastic miniatures to paint and buy. If you love Bones miniatures, then they got this magazine. It was released last year. Hopefully when the next Kickstarter comes out, they'll release another Bones 2. Now if you love your Bones, this magazine is your little bible of all your miniatures. I much prefer to have a physical copy of anything, like my books for D&D. I really prefer to have books on the shelf than read them off a PC or anything like that. So this magazine covers you for all the Bones miniatures. It's really, really cool. The Bones miniatures I'm going to be showing you today are what's in the stores now, so there won't be any from the Kickstarter that hasn't been released yet. So these are all miniatures you can buy from Mighty Lancer Games, or you can buy them from the web store. These are all available now to buy. I need to drink some water now. What a start. Oh, it's really hot in Scotland today. In a little workshop, I'm roasting away here. Okay. What I've got is a little turntable down here on the floor. So how is everybody? Yeah, it is hot, Claire. Right, just got to sort my settings out for my video. The joys of technology, huh? Gosh. Okay, so I want to go to camera controls and zoom. No, not zoom. Focusing. There you go. And we can start spinning these. There you go. So, this is my number 25. These are the Anhurian men. This is your sword, crossbow and spearmen by Mr. Johnson. Let's see if I can put a board up behind that. That'll make it even better to see. There you go. There you are. All these mod cons. Bit of cardboard behind. Let's see if I can get this close. There you go. Yeah, so these are the miniatures you can get from Reaper. And these are very old, painted now, and as you can see I just used some old MDF board for the bases, and that works really well. Now, most of these miniatures I'll be showing you today, they're well played with miniatures. Like I say, I paint for my tabletop and for my games. If you've ever played Dungeon Saga, then you'll know that these will work perfect in that game. Dungeon Saga is a game by Mantic Games. It's a dungeon crawler, and many of you from the UK will probably know about it. And it's used the same as D&D on a 1-inch square grid-based format for your dungeons. And if you enjoy dungeon crawlers, then I'd take a little look at that game if I was you. But as you can see with these miniatures, they're very simple colour coordinated miniatures. I've only got 3 different colours on the mini, and that makes them work in unity with each other in a group. And you've got the little crossbowmen there. I mean, these are so simply painted. I mean, I don't think I even painted in the eyes on these, just an ink wash, because that's the key as well. If you're a beginner and you're doing big armies, you don't need to be painting in every single eye on your miniatures. So I find when you're doing big groups like this, and they're for your own personal use on your tabletop games, you can just put in a little ink wash, and from a distance you're not even going to know if you've painted the eyes in or not. These aren't for display purposes, they're for gaming. These come in little packs of 3. You've got like the crossbowmen, swordmen, spearmen. I'm still recovering from the last stream. That was absolutely crazy, but I'm so happy I've just managed to get this stream working. That sound issue, that scared me, because you know, you just start your stream and you're echoing. And it's like, ooh. Yes, these miniatures I've used in many games. I don't know, does anyone play D&D here or any games? If you play any games, let me know what games you play. Scorpler, my partner, who's the moderator for the channel, she is a dungeon master in Dungeons and Dragons games we play. Plus many of my friends are dungeon masters. Tal from the Gamers Rest, he's a dungeon master and he is absolutely phenomenal. You got Frances, Highland lass, she's a dungeon master as well. Many of my friends are dungeon masters. I've never actually been a DM, that scares me. I like to be a player. Okay, so let's move on to our next one. Let's take these little ones off. Like I say, if you've most of the miniatures, they come with little bases, but I like to always add my own base. What you'll find is all my miniatures I've added bases to. It's either a square or a round, and they're always 1-inch bases for all my miniatures. And again, excuse me, that is for playing my board games on, because nearly all the games I play, they use a 1-inch grid base. Plus, add in a little piece of wood, plastic, and maybe a little penny stuck to the bottom on the round ones. That gives you weight for these miniatures, because we've got 3 cats, and the amount of times one of our cats jumps on the table and flick, all the miniatures are gone. This just gives a bit more, support. My workshop is just one mass of painted minis, because what I've done is I wanted to show you my top 25, but I wanted to show you my top 25 which I've actually painted. So you're going to see all these old miniatures are painted and stuff, so oh, bit of fun. Okay, let's move on to number 24. And for number 24, we have Skelly, oh, I can't speak. We have skeletons, and these are by Ed Pugh, and by, I think it's Bob Ridolfi. How do you spell that? Ridolfi. There you go. Now, Ed Pugh, I think he started the first skeletons ever produced for Reaper miniatures. Let me see if I can find the right ones. That's one of his ones there. And this one, I think. And that one. And let me see. And this one here. So these are all Ed Pugh skeletons. And then you got Bob's here as well. Now, Skellies are one of my favourites. And you can paint a whole army of skeletons in a few minutes if you're fast enough. And they do look fantastic because they're so simple to paint. All you're doing, you've got some skeleton bone, brown ink wash, then you go over and highlight with your skeleton bone again, and you're done. You just add in a little bit of colour. And as you can see, again, I've added a little bit of red to the flavour of the skeletons, just so they have a bit of uniform when they're in my dungeons. But skeletons are fantastic. Again, with the bases, I've added some nice... These ones are just plastic bases. And what I've done, a little bit of sand around the base, and that gives them a lovely bit of texture. Tiny little bit of dry brushing over the top, and you're done. Oh, I suppose I should read messages. Now, see, I'm going to be carried away. And this is the miniatures, la 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 la. So I'll take a little look-see. Hey, Shank, nice to see you. I bet you've had a hard day at work. Right, let me see if I can drop this down a tad, just a tiny bit. There you go. Can you all see that okay? But I'm looking at a tiny weeny little picture, so I can't see if it's sharp enough. Yes? Oh, good. Thank you, Speaking Beast. So this is my number 24. Thank you, Phil. Nice to see you in chat, Phil. So this is my number 24. Let's move on to number 23 then. Like I said, with the Bones miniatures, they've been getting better and better with each Kickstarter. I mean, these ones I've been showing you are the old Bones White, the classic Bones as I call it. Now they are very bendy. Look, bing, 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 bing. So what we do with the bendy little miniatures is we just give them the hot and cold water trick. So if you've got any bent swords or anything, what we do is we put them in boiling hot water, and then straight away, as soon as they go back into shape, we just quickly dip them in freezing cold water, and that makes the mould go back to its original form. Because many times you'll get your blister pack and you'll have all these bent swords and weapons, and you know, it looks nasty. I mean, when you're attacking a giant with a bent sword, it's like, no, that's not going to work. I suppose you could use it as a boomerang. There we are. Okie dokie, let's go on to the next one. Right, the next one we have the Cave Troll. Now, this is the Cave Troll by Ben Sains. I think I say, I apologise if I get the names wrong. Ben Sains, S-I-E-N-S, Sains. I hope I said that right, and I apologise if I've said it wrong. I'll stop this for now. This is my Cave Troll. And this is the Reaper Miniatures Cave Troll. Now, I've got on a little display piece there, but it's fantastic for your dungeons. The actual base is just made out of a little bit of polystyrene, and this is why I stopped the wheel, because you can see at the back, that's the polystyrene I made it with. I haven't painted the back. All the little mushrooms and stuff are made with clay and little bits of wire, little bits of rock. But this is an awesome little miniature. Yeah, so this is a simple little miniature to show you, but I really like the Cave Troll. It's probably because it's a cave troll, and if anybody knows me, I'm a bit of a huge Lord of the Rings fanatic, so anything that says Cave Troll, I gotta have one. I think I've got a collection of maybe 40 of the original Lord of the Rings cave trolls from their miniature line. And maybe I'll do a stream on all my Lord of the Rings miniatures at a later date, because that is enormous, lots of miniatures. Okay, so that's the simple little, hope it's okay for you to see, that's the simple little one for number 23, and that's the cave troll. I do like that miniature. Okay, I'm going to put the wheel back on. Go on then, there you go. I have to give it a little wipe, because what's crazy is we have cats in the house, and this is my workshop is sealed, and my cats and no animals are allowed in my workshop, because this is where I paint for my customers. But even that, the hairs just attack the place. They float everywhere. Yes, 20th anniversary. Yes, very nice. Yeah, that could work. Okay, let's go on to number 22. And again, we got more miniatures by Ben Sains. And these are all his little goblins. Now, it wouldn't be a stream of my miniatures if I didn't have any goblins. I mean, we all have goblins. And these are just painted simply for my games. And this is what I've said to you many times before. It's about I'm all about painting miniatures for my games. Yes, I want to have a good paint job, but I'm not going to spend hours and hours and hours on one miniature if I'm going to be playing with my miniatures. I mean, because even when I cover my miniatures with varnish, the amount of time I play with my miniatures, the paint will eventually chip off. So if you've spent so much time on that miniature, it's going to get ruined. So another reason why I like to paint my miniatures to a tabletop standard. There we go. Now this is a nice little collection of different goblins. You got some spears there, you got some bowmen, clubs, and once again you can see uniform colours, all the same greens and reds and silvers, and having that makes them work really well on your tabletop. If I painted each goblin completely different, once you've got them in game or in your dungeon, you're going to lose track of which is the goblins and which is your heroes, NPCs. It's all going to be a muddle. So we keep all our miniatures in a uniform colour, and you can find them straight away on your tabletop. God, it's so hot in here today. Let's see if I can move this over a little bit. Don't like moving the camera because it starts wobbling. Wait till we get to the big minis. Do you know, I've spent probably most of my day today going through all my cabinets in the living room, pulling out all the miniatures. And then when my stream started and it all went pear-shaped and it started echoing, I was like, really? I spent all day getting ready for this? Just oh, I'm so happy I managed to fix it. Oh dear me. What's happened to Mighty Lancer Games? Is the sound bad still? Oh, connection problems. Well, I thought my sound. As long as you can all hear the sound, I can. I mean, all my streams, they're all going to be. They're all recorded, and then they're going to be uploaded onto YouTube anyway, and you can always watch them after when the stream ends, so it's not a problem at all. Anyway, take care to Mighty Lancer Games, I will go and move on to our next one, and number 21. And we're doing really well for time. 7:30. That's 7:30. Oh dear. There's me. I'm trying to plan a stream to last an hour. I think we'll do that today, you know. So that's our goblins. Right, let's have a look what was on my list for number 21. And 21 is orcs. We have lots of orcs and goblins today. Right, we got, this is by Mr. Manor. I don't know what his first name was. Sorry, Mr. Manor. So what we got here is a few orcs. We got the Slicer, the Grunt, and the Warrior. He's the Grunt. No, he's the Grunt. He's the Slicer. And this one's the Warrior. Can you see these okay? Move them a bit forward. There you go. Yeah, they do all grunt. These bases are what I've done with these bases. I've actually cut the Reaper miniatures from their original bases, and these little bases are from Mantic Games. They come with that Dungeon Saga game I was talking about, and what I've done, I've just transferred the base from the Dungeon Saga games and stuck them on to these ones. They got a lovely little cobble effect to the base, which looks fantastic. So yes, Reaper miniatures do a huge line in different miniatures, so it caters for everything. You've got your skellies, your orcs, lizard men, everything you could possibly imagine to build up your armies. And the bones miniatures are cheap enough that you can get a good sized army, you know, quite cheaply. With the newer bones miniatures, they come in grey and bones black, and they're a harder plastic, and the bones black is a much harder plastic, which also means you can spray paint onto those miniatures. So these are our orcs. I'm going to get rid of those, and we're going to move on to the next one. And number 20 is, we got Sephora scale. Garrick the Bold. Now, Garrick the Bold is, as you know, I showed it in the last stream, but he's the infamous guy for Reaper miniatures. There you go. He's what you scale all their miniatures to. So if you've got a dragon, you'd use him for scale to show you how big that dragon is, or monster on your tabletop, and it gives all the customers, for their customer base, an idea of the scale of the miniatures that they're going to buy. So this guy is quite famous, and he had to be included. Okay, so that is number 20, Sephora scale. Bye bye. Okay. I am sweating here. I'm so hot. Okay, let's have some water. Right, we are now on number 19, Spirit of the Forest by Jason Webb. Webby? Webby? Webb or Webby? Webby. Hello, Goblin Squire. Nice to see you. Okay, this is my Forest Guardian miniature. And let's move it back a bit. A bit more maybe. There you go. This is a awesome miniature. What I've done there, I got a little Jack Russell, and we go for nice little walks with my Jack Russell. And my Jack Russell picks up all these little twigs and things. So what I do is I convert the little twigs and make them into the dioramas. So what I've done, I've got a nice little MDF board base, added some rocks and some air drying clay, and then I added these lovely little twigs. You can actually see the teeth marks. You can see the teeth marks in the wood where Bonnie's been like, you are, Daddy. See, look at this. Yeah, so yes, Bonnie helps me build my dioramas and gets me little twigs. So and again, we've got some nice little leaves on there, little mushrooms. The mushrooms are made again with air drying clay and some little wires, and they're just painted red. Nice, basic, simple paint job, but it works and it looks nice. What I do with the wood, I just leave it to dry. If I just make sure it's completely dry, Shank, and I take off the bark on most of it. As you can see, that this is bark-free wood, and then if I want to add bark, I'll just sculpt the bark onto it. It makes a good way to look good on the tree. I've got these like little mushrooms coming off the sides of these trees here. That's actually air drying clay that I've glued on to the parts of the tree, so it's all hand done, and it gives it a bit more scale. So yeah. Yeah. Well, the teeth marks just add extra flavour, yeah. Okay, then let's go and move on to the next one. And that was number, what was that? That was number 19. God. Number 19. Now for number 18, we got the Demon Lord of Death. Demon Lord of Death. And this is another one by Jason. That's this one. This is a very old model that I painted, but still I like it very much. This is in the old bones plastic, and again I used some nice air drying clay for the base. Got some skulls. I stuck some skulls around the base. Lots of ink washes and dry brushing and different colours on the wings. And of course you've got the goat's eyes, so you've got those slightly slant eyes that I've done. And all the horns and teeth. Beautiful little miniature. My favourite miniatures for gaming have to be a mid-size miniature. I've got dragons, but you're not going to see any of the big dragons on my top 25 miniatures, because I find the big dragons are way too much if you're a gamer. If you're a gamer, I don't want this huge massive dragon on my tabletop. The smaller ones fit in my dungeons and are fantastic for my games. So there we are. This one is our Demon Lord of Death. Very simple. I'm trying to find room where to put my minis now. Okay. Oops, there you go. Okay, so that was number 18. Oh, and now we're going on to the Yetis. Now, Reaper do a lovely little set of Yetis. This will soon brighten up the picture. Let me just give this a wipe. Now what we've got here is the Yeti Shaman, Yeti Warrior, and the Yeti Chieftain. Whew, get that out. Now these are fantastic little miniatures, and you got, like I say, a complete set. What with these miniatures, I've used artificial snow. The snow is just white sand, and the white sand is mixed with PVA glue, and then just added to the base, and it makes them really simple, but it looks fantastic on those bases. And again, with the Yetis, all I've done there, I've started off with a creamy base colour, and then I've worked up the highlights just by dry brushing on the skin with lighter and lighter tones of white and cream. And very simple paint, very effective, and I'll probably show you one of these on one of our streams at a later date. Very simple to do. So these are our Yetis. I haven't used the Yetis in any games yet, so I have to wait for Tal to design some form of game around Yetis. Okay, let's move on. I hope you're all enjoying this. I hope it is giving you some inspiration for your minis. Okay then. Nice one, Tal. Okay. Oh, this. Here we are. Drag off. Beautiful miniature. Beautiful miniature. I'm going to zoom in on this one. So, simple miniature, awesome in your dungeons. He'll look fantastic anywhere. Again, super simple and easy to paint. Recommended for beginners. And absolutely beautiful sculpt. I didn't say who the sculptor was, did I? I think it is. Let me see. Bob. Yeah, Bob Adelphi. Yeah. I think I've only got one Bob Ollie in this collection. Yes, this one comes in a metal version as well. A lot of these miniatures come in metal versions. What Reaper have done, they've taken their metal collection and converted them into bones miniatures. This original one comes with 3 separate heads if you get the metal version. But the price difference is quite noticeable, so getting the bones version is much more affordable, and I think the sculpt is fantastic for a bones miniature. You see, you got the skulls and the chains in the back of the miniature. Fantastic. Okay, let's I need to speed this little turntable up. There you go. Lovely miniature. Okay, what have I got next on my list? Oh, we got Death Sleet. There we go. I'll have to zoom out for this one. This is Death Sleet from Reaper Miniatures. Let's move out a little bit. Right, Death Sleet is one of their dragons. Good sized dragon. Now this is made onto a snow base. Excellent for attacking your foes in your games. And again, I've used an MDF board, air drying clay, and the snow, which I told you before, which is white sand mixed with PVA glue, and you just glue it onto your base, and it gives a beautiful effect of snow. So this is Death Sleet. They've got a metal version of this miniature. Well, they used to. The metal version, I think, is yes. The metal version, I think, is out of production now. Shank. So this is Death. So So this is Death Sleet. Let's move on to the next one. I didn't realise what the time was. Well, that was a fast hour, wasn't it? Goodness. Okay. Let's move on. I'm sorry this stream is going to probably last longer than an hour. I hope you're okay staying a bit longer. But remember, if you do have to go, the stream is recorded, and I will it will be uploaded onto YouTube, and you can watch it after the stream ends anyway. So I'm sorry if it takes longer than I thought. Okay, well, we've got Death Sleet. Now the next one is it's a Snub Niggeruff by Kevin Williams. This is the Forest Guardian. There you go. This is a beast. This is the Forest Guardian by Kevin Williams. There we are. This is an awesome mini. Again, this is another miniature that we've not been able to use in our games because we haven't made up a storyline for it yet. But you can imagine going through the woods and, you know, finding something like this just attacking you when you're with your party, and this just appears. Absolutely mental beast. It reminds me a bit of The Thing, the movie from 1980, you know, in John Carpenter's The Thing, you know, where everything's pulsating and coming out and coming alive from its body. Yeah, stuff of nightmares, Phil. Stuff of nightmares. Hey, Tal, if the bugbears found this one in the forest, this thing would probably eat them as snacks. Okay. Let's see if I can. Sorry, I'm just trying to get my board. There we are. It's quite a handy little trick, this, when you got to have a turntable, and all I've got is a little cardboard backing, and it works as a studio. But little hints and tips for anybody that wants to do this type of thing. Very simple to do. Okay, so that's that one. Absolutely beautiful miniature. As you can see, I don't know if I can show it to you closer, but it's got eyes everywhere. All over its body, it's got these little eyes. Yeah. And what I've done is lots of gloss, just to make it more slimy. Okay, right, where are we now? Now we got the Toad Demon, another one by Kevin Williams. Again, I went a bit wild with my old sculpting on this one, and I made him a little toadstool, toad hole toadstool. Let's see if I can get in on him. There you go. There we are. So this is your Toad Demon. Again, made with air drying clay on the bases. As you can see, I have a thing about fantasy mushrooms. Yeah. Yeah, you just need that smoking worm on top of it. So this was my number 13, the Toad Demon by Kevin Williams. Very simple paint again, and this is where I try to express myself and to other people that you don't need to be a super duper fantastic paint job on your miniatures, especially if you're using them in game and stuff. I like to add things to my bases. Because it gives your added personality, and your creativity gets added to each base you make. It's the sculptors who make the miniatures, but it's you guys who produce the artistic flair on your miniatures. And actually adding your own little things to the bases of these miniatures just gives a little bit more. And as any of my Goblin patrons know, I do not accept I do not accept miniatures unless they've painted the bases for my viewing. So when they paint the miniatures for my Patreon, they have to show me that they've done nice little bases to go with them. So I'm a bit of a stickler when it comes down to that. Okay, let's move on. Toadyman. Oh, there we go. We've got the Fire Giant Huntsman with Hellhound by Chris Lewis. So this is quite a recent new miniature from Reaper Miniatures, and it's the Hellhound and the Fire Giant. For the base, I've done some very strong ink washes to give a lava-y type effect to the base, and added some nice highlights around, and added some black on the base. Let me use this old paintbrush to show you. Just there, I've put some black so it looks like the molten lava going down on top of the lava. Lots of dark colours, some rust effects on over all the chains and mail. And of course you've got the dog. And again, air drying clay, just working up around the miniature. And I've highlighted the bottom of the rocks with the ink wash just to give a light reflection or a light source going onto the bottom of all those rocks, which is fantastic. So there we are, very simple and a beautiful little miniature. And that was number 12. Okay. Right, moving on. I'm trying to find... I had it all organised and now I can't find room to put my miniatures down anywhere. Oh. Right, and I've lost the miniature I wanted to put up next. I am looking for my Frost Giant Ranger by Jason Webb. And it's disappeared. How did I lose that? It was in here. It's staring me in the face. There she is. There you go. Some things they're right in front of you and you're blind and you can't see them, even when they're a frost giant. Yeah, so this is the Frost Giant Hunter. Again, using snow effects and doing some nice effects along the cloak, just to bring off some dirt. But what we're doing is we're doing it in a lighter colour because you don't want it dirty. You want it to kind of match in with the snowy effect, so it's more of a lighter colour going around the bottom of the miniature. So that's my number 11, the Frost Giant Ranger. Okay, now we are moving on to our top 10. We're nearly there, folks. Right, and so for the first one, again, we're going back to Orcs. Now, the reason why I am picking these ones is because everybody knows I love Bob Ollie. So these are Bob Ollie Bowmen. And Bob Ollie's sculpts to me are old school, and they embode everything of what an old school fantasy miniature should be. Excuse me. Very simple, but they're so old school fantasy looking. They had to be shown, and I love them to bits. Another thing as well, Claire was just saying there about small miniatures. What you won't find me painting many bones miniatures that are human-sized, apart from your basic ones like your goblins, orcs, lizard men, skeletons. And the reason for that is because I paint metal. I prefer to have. I would rather spend a couple more pounds on a human-sized metal miniature. That's my own personal taste. There's nothing wrong with buying the bones human-sized miniatures. I do believe that yes, I will do a metal stream, Shank. I do believe the metal miniatures are a lot more detailed than the bones, and they got a good weight. Now, when it comes down to bones miniatures, I would rather have my dragons and larger miniatures in bones material. So you got the best of both worlds, but you will not see many detailed smaller miniatures like I do with my metal miniatures in bones, because I prefer the metal, and that's simple as that. So this is Bob Ollie's. These are fantastic. Off you go. Okay, so number 9, we got Ebenrath. This is a very famous dragon, or if you wanted to play D&D, it would be called your Black Dragon. Let's see if we can... There we are. This is a beautiful dragon from the Bones collection. This is one of their early editions. I think they're releasing it in a Bones Black or the Bones Grey, which is the harder plastic. But this is the perfect size dragon. There's another dragon by Sandra Garrett as well. This is Sandra Garrett, sculptor. And she's done another one which is actually coming up next, which is the Shadow Dragon. Now, both these dragons are what I would call the maximum size I would go to in a game with a dragon. This to me is the perfect size. If I get little Mr. I can't say his name now. So Garrick the Bold, you can see the scale. There you go. I mean, that's a nice size. That's a perfect size to go in your games with your miniatures. What I find is some of the miniatures are just, like I say, way too big for your games. Especially if you've got a small house as well. I mean, one little table for your games. This is a perfect size and totally big enough to be enjoyed. So there we are. This is that one. This is the Ebenrath Leaf. Let's see if we can put you back over there. I'll catch you on the camera. And I did say the next one was Shadow Dragon. So this is the Shadow Dragon. This is by Sandra Garrett as well. And that's the number 8. Again, perfect size miniature, perfect for your dungeons, and a nice simple paint. Oh, the base, that'll be a 4-inch base. Carlos, with my bases, I use all my bases so I make sure I can use them in game. Now, Dungeons and Dragons works in 25, 50, 75, 100, 125 and 150 millimeter bases. So you'll find all my miniatures are either on a 1-inch base, 2-inch base, 3-inch base, 4-inch base. But as long as they cover that inch grid that you play D&D with, then they work in anything that you do. So anyway, this is the Shadow Dragon. I'll just put you over there for now. Where are we now? Here we are. Next one, we got the Colossal Skeleton. This is a very, very, again, simple paint, but I do love my skeletons. This is the Colossal Skeleton, which is a giant skeleton by Jason Webb. Again, I'll put the little man next to him. Sephora scale, I can say him now. when you see me showing you these minis, I have probably painted maybe 10, 15 of each one that you've seen now. It's crazy the amount of Reaper miniatures I have painted in the last few years. This one in particular, the amount of people I have painted this miniature for is I was going to say ridiculous. It is ridiculous. It is awesome, but crazy. But it is a lovely paint, and like I say, it works so well. You know, you can have all your little skellies around. You can have a whole skeleton army. You know, I mean, you can paint all this in a day, and you got your whole army in your dungeons coming to attack you. So you have to work your way through the grunts and the warriors and the spearmen, and then you have to fight the final boss in the last dungeon in the deepest dungeons. Awesome stuff. Yeah, it's exciting. Okay, so that's that one. It was organised, and like I said, I can't find anywhere to put anything. Okay, that goes over there. Let's see what was next. Right, we're down to number 6. Oh, this is an exciting. This is nice. This is Stormwing. Now, Stormwing I went a bit wild with, and I made a storm. Now, Stormwing is another as I call it, the mid-sized dragon. But what I've done with this one that makes it really special is I've added wire going all the way around the dragon, and just spiraled that wire. It's wire from jewellery making, and I've just spiraled it round and round and round, and stuck it to the dragon. And then what I've done, I've added all these little leaves and stuck all the little leaves to all the wires. So the storm dragon is a magical dragon, of course. So he's made up the storm around him, and he's given that wind effect, and it's going all around him with all the leaves, and awesome. Yeah. I really like this one. I wanted to send this to a special patron of mine, but there's no way it's going to survive the trip with all these wires. So it's mine. So there we are. That's Stormwing. Okay, so that's Stormwing done. Where are we now? Oh, right, okay. This you saw in the last show. I'm going to show you this one again because it's not finished. I got to add stuff to the base. This is my Frengle by Jay Johnson, sorry. This is an epic miniature. This is probably the maximum I'd go to for my tabletop games. Very, very nice miniature. Like I said, I've still got to finish the base, painting the eyes. Oh, see, he's too big to spin around there. There we go. Oh, he's okay, I'm going to have to take this board away, sorry, because the miniatures are getting bigger now. Can you see that okay, guys? Oh, good. Good, okay, so that was number 5. Let's move on to number 4. Number 4, we'll be actually on to a bigger miniature now. So now we are moving on to the Mystic Circle. There we are. Oh. Okay. This is the Mystic Circle. This is a set by Reaper Miniatures that you can use in all your games. So I'm going back to there. Now this is a very large miniature. You get the whole circle of stones. What I've done, I've mounted this onto a 12 by 12 inch MDF board, and I've added a few extra clay stones to the bases, and added lots of grass effects and everything, and just given a basic grey and highlighted the stones to give them a nice effect, and a little bit of a brown ink wash here and there. And this is a fantastic. I added an altar as well in the middle, and that works fantastic. So there we are. This is fantastic for your games. What I do with my games is I do most of my boards 12 by 12 inch boards, and then you can carry on and play your games, and then I store them on their side and put them on my shelves, and I just pull the board out when I need to play. So there we are, that's number 4. Okay, let's take this away. You have to excuse me for a second. I'm going to try and pick things up without dropping them. Don't want to drop that. Okay. Oh, we got the Obsidian Crypt. Here we are with the Obsidian Crypt. Again, this is a huge play-in board now. This is on a 12 by 12 MDF board. You've got 2 packs here. You've got the Obsidian Crypt, which is here, and you also got these little gates, and they come in separate packs from Reaper Miniatures. Now, I'm trying to get this camera back a little bit more. 1 second. There we are. Sorry about this. Let's get into the bigger miniatures. I've got no room to show you properly. Okay. Yeah, so all the base I made completely out of air drying clay, and then I've added all these little tombstones, and then you got the sculpts. I've added some nice weathering effects to the roof. This comes away and has a full interior, by the way, so you can go inside the building with your games. Is the picture clear enough for everybody, by the way? Please tell me if it's out of focus or anything. I mean... Thank you, Carlos. Thank you, Speaking Beast. Like I say, I'm still a total newbie to this Twitch streaming, so you'll have to forgive me if I make a few mistakes here and there. It's what it is as well. I've got a tiny weeny little picture to look at to see what I'm doing, so I can't really make out enough if it's in focus or not. So there we are. This is the crypt. Absolutely amazing miniature, and like I say, this bit does come off. So you can go into the side of the crypt. You've got a trapdoor in there and all sorts of goodies. It's all fully kitted out. Okay, let's get rid of that one. Right then, we are on to number 2. Now, it's a simple little mini, but I've painted this so many times. It's the Jailer. The Jailer is by Chris Lewis. It's a simple giant miniature, but there's something about this sculpt that I really like. It's awesome. I have painted so many of these as well. That is ridiculous. But it's a beautiful miniature, absolutely beautiful. I love dungeon crawlers, so all the miniatures I want to buy are for dungeon games. So I couldn't find many giants that would really fit in a dungeon. I mean, you got your fire giants and your frost giants, but I needed a jailer, and this guy just works. So for my games, he just works really well, and that's what it's all about, is finding a miniature that you want to play in with your games, and this is the bad boy that worked for me. Okay, so we are at number 1. And number 1, most of you have probably already guessed which miniature it's going to be. Can anybody guess what my number 1 is before I put it up? Come on, have a guess. Goblin King. They don't do a Goblin King yet. I tell you what, Reaper Miniatures need to do a Goblin King. Okay. That's okay. Don't you worry. It's another large one. It is, of course, Dragons Don't Share. Dragons Don't Share. There you go. Now, this... Oh, dear me. I do need more room. There you go. How's that? Is that better? Right, Dragons Don't Share is what I would call Reaper Miniatures' flagship large-scale miniature. With the Dragons Don't Share kit, not only do you get cat's hairs, what you get with you get the complete set of adventurers, and the adventurers are still in my cabinet, so I can't show you them, but I can dot a few skellies around. But what you get is you get the whole sculpt. You get all the castle and all the ruins, and you get the great red dragon, all in your set. There we are, that's better. And this is perfect because you can take the dragon off. I can't take it off now. You can take the dragon away from the base, and you can add the dragon once your adventuring party actually makes it to the tabletop. And then, of course, they get to have to fight all the skeletons and goblins. And then they get to the treasure. And, of course, then the great dragon comes down to protect its treasure and fries them and makes them toast. So there we are. Mr. Garrick the Bold will be up there trying to kill the dragon. And he has not got a chance. So there we are. That is my top 25 miniatures to collect from Reaper Miniatures. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I did have a bad start, but thankfully we got it sorted with my sound issues. So I'm really happy about that. All the links are for the Reaper Miniatures are below the stream, so you can go and see Mighty Lancer Games, and you can go to visit Reaper Miniatures and find all these fantastic things for you to collect and buy and paint. So there we are. That's my stream for today. I do apologise it went on a bit longer than I thought it would. I'm trying to keep my streams to an hour long, and what I'm doing is in the future I'll be working out a way to paint my miniatures live on stream, so you could might be able to paint along with me with your miniatures or whatever you'd like to do. But I'm hoping to show you quick and easy ways to paint your miniatures. So that's me all done. I thank you so much for watching my stream, and I hope you tune in for the next one. My streams are every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday, so hopefully I'll see you all on Tuesday. So I'll say goodnight for now. Thank you so much, everybody.